It's funny.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
It's
It's just really...
it's just, you're zoomed
Yes.
out a lot.
There we go. I was like, what is happening? Perfect. Okay. Okay. I'm nervous, but it's chill. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another grand episode of Hot Cocoa. This is episode 8. Heck yeah. I'm so happy we've gotten this far. And I'm very excited because today is the first time in a very long time that I have a guest on the podcast. Say hello.
Hi, my name is Noah Johnson, and I'm very excited to be on this podcast, actually.
I'm so excited for you, and I can't stop laughing. If you're watching the YouTube video, he has like a dangling, like, I don't even know, a mic from the stupid, my brother's headphones. So it's what we got to work with. We've been setting up for like probably an hour at this point.
It's been gruesome.
So yeah, if you're watching the YouTube video, which I highly recommend doing, we have a whole backdrop, everything like that, and it looks a little bit different.
It's official.
It's official for sure, yeah. But the day I get a studio, I said it all day, right? When we're setting up, I will be so happy because it takes way too long to get into everything.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So I'm excited that you're on here. First guest in a minute. I mean, there's only just been podcast episodes of me talking, but
COVID.
yeah, COVID, yeah. The world's low-key ending. It's 2020, like, you know what we can do. So just to plug a little bit, Noah picked up some hot cocoa for us, of course, and we're going to do a little cheers and sip it for the first time. Thoughts?
I can really taste the milk in it more.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Not a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of okay with that because I feel like the past couple of episodes I've had like really chocolatey hot cocoa, so
it's like a little toned down version. It's
yes.
not bad, though.
No, it's good.
Not bad.
Yeah. We got it from The Goods in Carlsbad, and they're a donut shop, and they're super sweet.
Super yummy.
Yeah, so good. We have donuts for after that we're going to eat, but we didn't feel like eating in front of all of you guys during all this.
Honestly, like, when I Snapchatted you and I FaceTimed you, like, asking what kind of donuts you wanted, and after, like, having to walk with them through Carlsbad back to my car with them, I was like, I really want to eat this right now.
I would have let you. Oh my gosh. Well, it'll be our celebration after because if we're being completely honest, this episode's going to be a little bit of a rough one. For many reasons. Obviously, everything going on in the world right now, we want to talk about the BLM movement and just everything that's going on. And we've had a couple instances that we're going to talk about. And if you're coming here from the Instagram post, which we have a whole algorithm, I should say, that we're doing on Friday morning. We're shooting this the day before Friday. But yeah, it's going to be a little hard to talk about, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. But before we get into that, on a lighter note, we're going to hear about Noah. Noah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, again, I'm Noah Johnson. I was basically been here my whole life in California, San Diego, for the most part. I just graduated college. I graduated from CSUSM. Did it in 4 years without any debt, which is, I feel like, super, super crazy.
That is crazy.
By today's standards, yeah. I have my major in media studies, and I have my minor in film production. I'm hoping that with those two together, I could do more stuff like this, like a podcast, or, I don't know, going out and filming movies, being part of a creative team. I just really love personally doing that stuff, so kind of want to take what I love and turn that into a career. I'm super excited for the future, but again, with everything going on right now, that's sort of taking a back burner. But for the most part, like, now I'm just working, trying to live the best life with my mother and my brother.
So good. I mean, congrats on college.
Yeah, thank you.
So exciting. I feel so bad. Like I said this in the past couple of episodes, just because with like COVID-19 and everything, like everyone that is graduating, like high schoolers, college students, like no one's getting like fully recognized and stuff. And like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. I was honestly really depressed, like my graduation week. I was supposed to have like my family from Texas.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends from like North California come down and visit me, and it was supposed to be like the party and like the week to just have high energy and, just celebrate. I mean, just like an accomplishment on its own, so it was really depressing having to wake up on my graduation day and realize that nobody can really see me besides the people that I live with. But, we still made the best of it regardless. Like, my mom threw a huge dinner. I don't know if you saw my Snapchats.
Of course.
But it was like we went all out. Like, we
Yeah.
were eating seafood on like the table with like gloves on. Like, it looked really weird and funny, but like, I'm very thankful for like what I can have to celebrate now, despite everything, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like
Beautiful.
I feel like in these times, like, it's so hard to really hold on to hope and hold on to good vibes, and you know, sometimes we just kind of gotta ground ourselves to those, you know, to those positive attributes that we have in life still, despite everything.
Totally. That's a really good way of putting it. I saw the TikToks too. Don't worry. I was excited. I catch up. So fun. So let's get into a little bit about how you and I know each other. I think it's a pretty funny story. I don't know. Do you even remember like how we officially met?
I'm pretty sure my ex brought me to your birthday.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yes. No, you're so right. Okay, so I had this.
Like, the first couple of times like I ran into you, I'm gonna be completely honest, I always forgot. I'm really horrible with like just memorizing things in general. Like, I'm more familiar with faces, but like if somebody went up to me and I like saw them through the drive-thru and they asked me like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I honestly realistically say no.
Yeah.
As crappy as that sounds. Was it that time?
Yes. So
okay.
In-N-Out works at Noah. That's what I was about to say. So Noah works at In-N-Out, and basically it was my 18th birthday party, last year, senior in high school, and I told Kat, I was like, yeah, bring Noah, like, because I knew who you were, and I would always see you in and out, and like you said, you're like, I have no idea who you were, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's Noah, but never was like, oh hey, like, I think I said once, like, oh hey, I know your girlfriend, like, before you came, and you're like, oh cool, and then that was pretty much it. But yeah, and then like that birthday party was a mess. If you were there, like, you know, it was so horrible. Like,
it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I was just like,
you were there before everything got gnarly.
Yeah. Oh. Did I leave before it got gnarly, or like?
Before, when you were there, it was just, we did it at the beach. It was supposed to be a bonfire. It was freezing. It was literally like, there was probably like offshore winds of like 15 miles per hour. It was awful. And it was just cold and miserable. And like some of my close friends showed up and like other people didn't. And we just had like a weird, and then I think by the time you guys left, that's when things got really bad. And that's a whole nother story. Like with the boy I used to talk to, like broke my heart or whatever. And like, yeah, dude, there's always a story with me. There's always drama. That's why I have a podcast, right? I always say, like, my life's motto right now is, like, whatever happens, hey, if it's good or bad, it'll be good for the podcast. So, yeah, so then that's how you and I met. And then, I don't know, over time, I think I just followed you on Instagram. And then, like, because Noah does, like, video production and stuff, too, and that's obviously what I do, I've seen a lot of his stuff and, like, commented on it. And, then we kind of reconnected and became close, like, right at the beginning of Corona, because remember we went to that party, like, when, we have two friends named Julia, and one of them...
I'm sorry, do you want me closer to the mic, or, like...
No, you're good. Okay, yeah, you're doing beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Can you not hear it that well?
No, I can hear it. I just, like, didn't know, like, for the whole podcast itself.
You're beautiful. Just do what makes you comfortable. So then, like, one of the Julias invited us to this party, and, like, I don't know. One Julia was hosting, the other Julia invited me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, anyways, then that's how we became friends. And then everything leading up in the past week, I think, has kind of solidified everything else. But we aren't, like, super close, which is kind of funny, you know? So, it's a good way. So with us meeting each other and everything that's been going on this week, we're going to kind of get into the heavy stuff pretty early just because we don't want this episode to be super long and dragged on. We just want to stay our standpoints and just kind of end it on that. But I think at this point, for me, I've been trying to decide whether or not to talk about everything. In the last episode, I did talk about George Floyd and his death and like everything with that. And my standpoints have 100% changed since a week ago. I think last week I said I don't have a voice and I don't have a say in this. I wasn't there. I wasn't a witness and everything else like that. Now 100% it has changed, like 100%. Given everything that's gone on the past couple of days. And I should say the past couple of days, this all happened yesterday. Let me tell you. So basically I called Noah because Noah has been posting, everyone on Instagram has been posting only on their Instagram stories, just about like, not everyone only on their Instagram stories, shouldn't speak for everyone, but I've seen a lot more people post on their Instagram stories in their main feed and stuff, which is totally fine. And Noah was posting a lot on his, and I slid up and was just like, hey, I'd love to call you and just get your standpoint, because at that point I wasn't posting a lot on Instagram. I talked about it on the podcast, but didn't really like say like, hey, I'm talking about my stuff on the podcast, what I think. And I wanted to get kind of a different standpoint from your point of view, because I knew you had a lot of opinions on it. And I did this with a lot of people. I slid up and like asked like a lot of people to talk to me. Yeah, especially because a lot of these people like are at least acquaintances or even friends or like really good friends, you know, in our community. So I wanted to get their standpoints before I decided what I was going to say on my story, because I've accepted at this point that I have a platform and that all of the people that follow me, or most of them at least, listen to me. And they might not show it like every time. Like a lot of people, some people comment on my stuff, slide up on stories, things like that. But like I have like almost upwards of like 3,000 followers, something like that. But at this point, I think at least everyone's listening to what everyone's posting, and everyone has an opinion right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to post anything. I'm very like tedious about what I post and stuff. So this is why it's kind of a big deal. So anyways, I called Noah and he talked to me for like 30, 40 minutes just about the situation and stuff. And I told him, I was like, my heart is telling me, like God is telling me right now that if you don't know like where we're from as well, like, and I'm from Carlsbad, and you know, yeah, you live in Carlsbad, right?
I live in Oceanside, actually.
Okay.
But I mean, I consider Carlsbad my second home just because
totally.
That's where I work.
Well, yeah, you work there, yeah.
Work, like, you know.
Yeah. So they're all really like not that far from each other. So there's Encinitas, which is a little bit down south, and there's Carlsbad, and there's Oceanside, but they're really all like pretty much connected, just said different towns. And so ever since this, like the whole George Floyd situation arose, there's been not protests, yes now, but like before this there wasn't. There was signs up in Encinitas, and then there was signs up in Oceanside, and I live in Carlsbad my whole life. So I was like, I don't see anything in Carlsbad. So I told Noah, I said, I want to put signs up in Carlsbad really early in the morning so that when people are driving to work or going out, they see these signs and sit. Like, I also say, I've been saying this to email posters that said like pop the bubble, because I literally am from Carlsbad. I was in such a bubble. I still am in such a bubble. And I think people like that in Carlsbad. They like to block it out and pretend that it's okay that this is going on. And, you know, I'm not speaking for everyone in Carlsbad. Obviously, there's a lot of people in Carlsbad, but I'm just saying in the town itself, I don't see any representation of it. So that's just what my heart was telling me to do. So Noah was really good, started a group chat, got a bunch of people on board, and that's what we did. We put signs up, I don't know, 5 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we all woke up at 4, relatively, got together at 5, between 5 and 6.
I was a little bit late, even though I was hosting.
It's okay. And then, you know, just we all came with our own signs, and then I brought some signs and materials for people just in case they didn't have anything. Spent like, I don't know, like a good 40 minutes just making peaceful signs. And then, yeah, like another hour just putting them up all around downtown.
It was a long day.
Yeah.
Long morning, I should say. And for the record, I haven't been sleeping lately, because when stuff happens like this, I don't know, I just don't sleep, period. But yeah, so Noah and I have been like exhausted. Like, I'm not even telling you, like right now I'm literally like sweating. Like, I try to put makeup on to kind of cover up the fact that I've been crying for like 3 days straight and just everything like that. But yeah, so how do we talk about this? How do we get into this?
How are we talking about like how the day went?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, like we just said, like we got up at 5. We made up a bunch of peaceful signs and hung them up. Like, we weren't going downtown to, you know, we weren't trying to be vocal at all. The only things we were being vocal through was through what we wrote. And, you know, we wrote stuff like Justice for Floyd. I wrote 8.46 just to show like the number of like, you know, how he died. Yeah. Basically, to say in a long story short. You know, there's stuff like hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. I wrote Pop the Bubble.
Yeah.
Of course.
You want to explain like Pop the Bubble to them?
Yeah. So Pop the Bubble, Julie and I were kind of talking about it, but I have lived in Carlsbad, you guys. I've talked about this before. Born and raised, never moved houses, like same situation. And so all I know is like that coming from Carlsbad High and just, you know, the school system and everything, like, we are so sheltered off from what's going on. And as I've been raised as a journalist, like, it's my job to kind of know about, like, the wrongfulness in the world and stuff. But I don't know if people that, you know, were my age or that I was going to high school with were as, you know, educated on certain things that were going on. Like, I was super strong in, like, NRA, like, just the whole gun situation. Like, I don't even want to get into that right now, but, yeah, so I always think that Carlsbad is just in this bubble of just, like, protectiveness and, like, pretends that everything's okay. And I'm not speaking for everyone in Carlsbad. Like, I'm trying really hard not to. But that's just what I've seen and what I feel. And I'm in the bubble, and I'm trying to pop it, you know? Or try to say, like, if you think you're in the bubble, try to pop it from the inside, you know?
And I feel like the whole, like, term popping the bubble just doesn't even relate just to Carlsbad. Like, that relates to, like, family members as well.
Yes.
You know? People whose families have different ideologies than they do, and they are, like, afraid to speak out about it to their parents. That goes with your friends group, with your classmates. Like, it's more. But for us right now, for that day, it was definitely like we want to spread more word around our community and our city, and sort of bring up these topics and these talks that people just, like, simply don't want to have.
Yeah, totally. And working in Carlsbad too, and just everything like that, and just being around it, surfing, everything, like, I don't see a very big split or, like, like, there's no culture over there. I feel like it's predominantly white people, and I can say that because I'm there all the time. So yeah, so that was just my motto with Pop the Bubble. But so things got a little escalated. We were done around 7:30, and the cool thing was that I said in front of everyone too, which I did, like, a little speech, right? And I was just saying, guys, like, this is so special because we're, like, the generation to hopefully create change and everything like that. But what was different was we were all happy. Like, we were all laughing and smiling, and there was no, like we weren't upset about it or anything. Like, we were just, like, excited to try and create a change.
Yeah.
And that was so uplifting. Mm-hmm. You have to agree with that.
Yeah. Like, even we got up and we all watched the sunrise together.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is beautiful. And just, like, seeing all of us in, like, the parking lot on blankets with a bunch of markers, you know. And even going beyond that, like, this isn't a group of just one set, like, background, you know?
Yeah.
This isn't just, like, a whole group of black people just protesting about it. This is a couple black people, a couple Mexicans, a couple white people, people of all different backgrounds. And it was just really powerful to see how, like, despite all our different upbringings, despite all our different socioeconomic classes, whatever, like, we were all together in that moment. Mm-hmm. And that moment was for peace.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. Very well said.
Thank you.
So that being said, we obviously knew we were going to get some backlash. We didn't think it would be this early in the day. So we put up all our signs, and we go to one of the restaurants, like the cafes over there.
Yeah, just to get, like, a quick bite.
Yeah, because we were just, like, hungry. We were up all day, you know, just stuff like that. And from my perspective, I think it's a little bit different from yours, but for me, I, like, wasn't getting anything to eat. So I just sat down, and there was a table of cops on the side, probably about 10 of them, like Carlsbad cops. And I have to say, for sure, like, my heart breaks for them too, because they looked so sad, you guys, like, so devastatingly upset. And for me, like, I'm an overthinker, but when I look at them, I think, like, they probably have a family. And, you know, I just feel so bad that they're, you know, like, I don't want people to get people are probably gonna get angry regardless, but I don't know, my heart just broke for them a little bit, just because, like, I know that they're in our community, and I haven't personally met a bad Carlsbad cop, and they've always been, like, helpful during, like, a situation where I've had to call the cops, because I have had to a couple of times, but yeah, I don't know, my heart broke. But then it got worse, because one woman walked up with our signs in her hand, and they were crumpled up, and the rest of us were in line, and I'm sitting there, and I'm very emotional, as we know. Like, I literally cried on the last episode, and I see them start talking to the cops, and then another woman comes up, and yeah, so we couldn't hear what they were saying to the cops. At first I was I was okay. I didn't start crying or anything. And I think you were in line, right? Where were you when this happened?
Funny story, actually. I came out of the bathroom, I think, when the
that's right.
went up to the cop. So I'm I'm doing
the bathroom is like right in front of the cops too.
Across from where they're sitting. Like, again, we didn't start any drama with the cops. Like, they saw us putting signs up. They were okay with it. They even waved at us a couple times.
Yeah.
And they're all having their cafe, whatever. But I unlock the bathroom door, and I walk out, and I see the first lady go up to them, and she had like trash in her hand, and I didn't really notice.
Yeah, no, I was looking at you coming out of the bathroom too.
I was like, I just went peed. Like, I don't, but I noticed her talking to the cops, and she's like, "Look what I did," blah blah blah, and I'm like, as I'm walking back to the group, like our group, I'm hearing that, and I'm hearing how proud she is and taking down these signs, and like how she wanted the police to, like, I don't know, like, parade her for
exonerate her for her amazing workship, and they're just sitting there obviously just upset about the whole situation and everything else going on, and it's like, really?
And it's like, it's funny because, like, again, our signs were a peaceful way of protesting in a way, and we're just saying Black Lives Matter, like justice for Floyd, but she coined it all in all our posters into litter, which that upset me, because that's definitely not litter at all. That's a slogan for human rights. And again, the fact that she was like so proud of it, and she, like, I don't know, it was like she wanted a crown on her head after that, and she handed it to the cops, and I don't even think the cops cared about it.
No, they didn't look like they just wanted them to leave them alone. That's what's so crazy about it.
One or two of them were like laughing and was like, not in a bad way, not laughing at us, but laughing at the fact that, like, she felt the need to do that and go straight up to this whole group of cops.
Yeah. It just, in my perspective, I think it just shows the privilege a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, we spent all morning, like, and literally we were like, we're not going to post about what we're doing. We're just going to do it.
It was like,
and not be like, we did this. We put these signs up. Like, that was not the purpose of it.
It was not for clout. It was not for recognition.
No, and everyone's like battling this whole, like, celebrities are going out to protest and they're just doing it for clout. Like, all of this drama of, like, who's doing it for the right reasons and who's not. Like, that just kind of, like, showed it a little bit more. So I didn't even hear that. So that's insane. Like, so then it gets to the point where I'm still sitting and watching this all go down. And for me, I am a confrontational person, but when it comes to this stuff, I'm so scared. And, so I was like, shoot, what the heck are we going to do? Like, what are the girls going to do? Because we have some girls in our group that are,
they were passionate about it.
Like, so headstrong about it. And it's super,
I love them for that.
Yeah, me too. It's super, like, uplifting to see that, for sure. And for me, I was like, like, you wouldn't think I'm, like, super timid and don't want to say anything. Like, usually I'll stick up for what I believe in and stuff like that, which comes into play a little bit later. So anyway, so these women walk past us, and I don't even remember who in the group said it, but one of
Jill.
Yeah, I think she was like, said very nicely, "Thanks for taking down our signs."
Yeah, it was nice, but it was still sarcastic. But regardless, it was like, I think when she said that, like, we weren't gonna do anything. We were like,
no, we were just wanted to say, like, oh yeah, those are ours, and you took them down. Like, you suck.
We weren't gonna be like. We weren't going to be confrontational about it at that point. We just said that remark, and we're just going to let it be, because we kind of already had the feeling that somebody was going to take them down.
Yeah, I just didn't think it would happen that early.
Yeah.
I really did not think it would happen that early. And, and then, I don't know. I was standing right behind her. Like, she was probably right here next to me. Jill was in front. I was sitting at the table, and, like, Julia was standing up at this point. So I was just sitting by myself, and I had my phone. Like, whenever an incident happens like this, my biggest thing is, just because I'm a journalist, like, the only thing that my first, like, I don't really have fight or flight, but my first thing to do is just, like, hit the record button, regardless whether it's audio or it's an actual video. So after they said that, she turned around. I don't remember which one it was.
It was the one that was mainly, like, the one.
We're not going to expose names, by the way, but
it was mainly the one who would argue with us, and she would, like, not give us, like, she basically, like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping into the future a little bit right now, but it was basically the one that didn't, like, answer all of our questions.
Yes, I remember.
The one that we had.
The one that had the news hat on, correct?
Yeah, the one with the news hat.
I did not like her very much.
I call her the aggressor. So the aggressor,
that's big facts.
Yeah, the aggressor was the one who turned around.
Okay.
And then the other girl, I don't know, we can call her
The other blonde white one. Like, literally, I'm sorry, they looked the same.
That's bad to say, but yeah.
I just, like, I don't know, but yeah, probably not good to say, but it's fine. Yeah, so I don't know, the aggressor, as you would put it, turned around and literally, like, held them up and said something. I don't remember.
Pointed her finger in, like, I think Jill's face. Or
she went after Jill, but Julia, bless her soul, stood right in front and was like, no, you do not get to do that. Like, you came at us. Like, that's the whole thing is, like, the silent protesters don't get aggressive until it becomes a threat. And it almost went a little bit threat. And the whole time I was staring at the cops the whole time because I just wanted to see what they would do.
What was their reaction?
They just looked like, oh gosh, like it's too early for this. Like, please do not. And they just watched and they were waiting for if it was going to get worse or not. And I saw a couple of them just like like look away, just like, you know, like they can't really have an opinion. So I didn't see any opinions basically in their face. And then it got worse and there was a little bit of yelling and then everyone in the cafe was looking and then they walked away, correct? Yeah. And a couple of you guys were like, they're going to take down our signs. Like, we don't want them to do that. So you followed them. And at this point, it was just me sitting, and then Julia comes and sits next to me. At this point, I am bawling, and I'm still staring right at the cops just to, like they were looking at me, and I was looking at them, and I was just saying, like, what I was thinking was just, like, I feel your pain. Like, it's an emotional situation for both parties, so I feel your pain. And then I was finally convinced to, like, leave. And because I just did not want to go over there and listen to, like, everyone argue. So then at this point, they're on the corner of, like, Carlsbad Village Drive, like, where that huge intersection is. And everyone's arguing with them, and it got a little heated, and we were all recording. And from my perspective, I just was like, what am I going to do about this? Because I really don't want to stand there and fight about it. Like, I'm still really ambivalent about the whole situation. So the only thing I did was walk across the street, grab one of our signs, and stand on the corner and just hold the sign up for literally 30 minutes while you guys were talking. Yeah. So I only jumped in on, like, one or two discussions when this woman was saying that she doesn't trust the media. And I brought up that journalists are being, you know, arrested and shot at and all this other stuff, and more, I feel like more journalists were protected more in World War II than now. Yeah. And that's insane. So that was, like, my perspective just because I've learned about it, and, like, that's the only thing I feel like I can touch on. I mean, now I feel like I can touch on more, but yeah, so let's hear from your standpoint about the situation.
Yeah, well, when I saw her leaving the cafe, I had a moment, and I was like, she's really about to take down signs, and, like, I saw everybody, and, like, I kind of knew that people didn't want to be confrontational with that, and I didn't want to be either, and I didn't want to become the aggressor as well, you know? Yeah. That's the last thing I wanted to do for that morning. But I was like, I'm not going to stand here whilst...
I just spilled hot chocolate on myself. Sorry.
Maybe I should ignore that.
No, it got everywhere.
But I was like, I'm not going to stand here and see this lady take down a whole group of people's hard work for peaceful protest and peaceful movement. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It felt wrong to not do anything. Yeah, that's basically at the end of the morning what it was.
Like, this is why I'm here for the first part. I'm here for change, you know? I'm here to show these ladies, like, hey, this isn't going to be a violent protest, and it doesn't need to be at all. But when you come at me and my friends in the middle of the morning, aggressing and, like, you know, trying to start something like that, that's how people get violent, you know? But regardless, like...
sorry about the plane, if you hear that.
But, so, I see her walking, and then Lauren had this beautiful poster that she made that you were holding up.
It was, like, beautiful. It was huge, and, like, I have a photo of it. And unfortunately, when we jump a little bit, it's gone now, and she spent, like, a while, I'm not even... I'm upset already.
Anyways, so, like, I saw her walking over to that, and I was like... I know she's gonna start something, so I'm just gonna walk over there, and I'm gonna stand in the area where we have most of our posters, and if she takes it down, we're gonna stop it, you know? So we stand out there in the corner, and then it's like me and a group of other people. I don't know who came with me at first, but she pretty much just says how, like, we're literally littering and defacing the city, pretty much. And here's the thing.
Meaning Carlsbad.
Yeah, here's the thing. When we went into this peaceful protest, we literally had a set of rules that we made for each other. we weren't going to put any posters up on businesses because we don't want to take away from local businesses. We weren't going to put them up blocking their advertisements for their food or for their products or whatever. Likewise, we also didn't want to do it on any art because, again, we love art and that's the city's culture. And then third, we didn't want to break any laws and like cover up any like speed warning signs or anything. We strictly had them put up on poles, on little like, I don't know.
There's a bunch of palm trees everywhere too.
Trees, the little green things that like kids
like the green boxes. Yeah, I call them green boxes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like.
We were very careful and strategic about where we were going to put them, and we made it apparent in the group that we would do this the right way.
Yeah, so it wasn't an obstruction of anything whatsoever. Yeah. So then she's saying all this, and then, she's just saying, like, well, this is how protests like this is going to start riots and destroy the city. And I'm like, ma'am, like, you guys want us to have a peaceful protest and we're doing it. And we're not looking to fight with you guys at all. But you're instigating that because we're going to speak up on something and hang up a couple signs that it's going to start the riot,
Yeah.
And that to me, it like, as a black person, like, I feel like sometimes we can't win when it comes to what we can say and what we can protest out loud. Because it's like, when Kat took the knee, everybody complained about that, everybody on the news media, they were like, this is a disgrace to veterans, blah, blah, blah. Even though, Cap talked to the veterans about it and they were fully supporting him and whatsoever. But even though that was only happening at football games and whatsoever, that was seen horrible.
Such a backlash on that,
such a backlash from that. And that was mainly just, again, another call out to police brutality and Black Lives Matter. So, that movement got destroyed by everybody.
Shut down so fast.
So then, it comes to marches. People don't like us blocking the street for like a couple of minutes because they got to go to work and
we're in the way.
Yeah, we're in the way. And,
I shouldn't say we.
Huh?
I should say you. Yeah, well.
That's we at this point.
We at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
it's such a fine line, you guys. I'm so like, we can.
So it's the Black Lives Matter movement isn't even just for black people anymore. I feel like it's like we're tired of being targeted by police and like the people who kill us aren't properly arrested for it. You know what I mean? But it goes more to that. Like it's for every minority. It's not just one race. It's just we want the equality to be with other races and for us all to be treated the same,
Yeah.
So I think people get confused because they're like, well, this is Black Lives Matter and I'm not black, so I can't participate in it. And it's like, no, like you definitely can. Like you have black people in your community. If you do, you know, you have black friends, black people. So, and if you feel any sympathy for them, you would stand with them and not against them.
Of course, yeah.
So when she was saying like it was gonna start riots, it's like, well, like we're peacefully protesting, but then you don't like that, and we march in the streets, but you don't like that either. So
it's almost like, what do you like? What would you like us to do? And then they say nothing, and then you go, well, we're not going to do nothing. So
and then unfortunately, when like looting and rioting starts happening and people start burning stuff down, then you guys fall back on, oh well, you guys should have just peacefully protested and people wouldn't do that. But again, like people in San Diego peacefully protested.
Yeah.
And they got tear gas for it, And like I know personal families from my high school who aren't even black who was protesting that. And to see other like kids and, moms get tear gas over that. That's like that to me, I'm just like, what do we do? How do we say this without making anybody mad?
You don't, unfortunately.
Like, it's hard.
It's really heartbreaking. And one thing that you did tell me, because we did just kind of touch on the whole race thing, because I'm very like ambivalent about the whole situation and everything like that. One thing Noah did say to me, because I was standing there and like obviously said like nothing pretty much the entire time. I said like the one maybe news thing. And we have the video of the whole situation. It was like literally 26-minute video, so you can even hear it. I don't know if we're going to put it out there. We don't know yet. We don't know. But anyway, there was a moment where I said, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to do, like, I want to do something, but I just don't feel like my voice should be carrying this battle. And you looked at me and you go, Colette, you need to talk. You need to say something because they're not going to listen to me.
Yeah.
Because those two ladies were not talking directly at you. They were talking to, like, us.
Yeah, they would only literally talk at anybody who's a minority if they were asking, oh, do you pay your taxes? Or, oh, do you live here? But when it came to, like, other, like, legal issues, they would talk to only the white people in the group, which that alone set me off. You know? The fact that she was like, do you pay your taxes? Thinking, like, I don't work, you know? And from that stems to even some more issues. Like, I'm pretty sure she didn't know that, like, I just graduated college.
Yeah.
I'm an educated man. I own my own car, you know? I'm supporting my mother. Like, she doesn't know any of that. So it's just labels when she sees my color is like, oh, he doesn't live here. He doesn't pay his taxes. You know, it's little stuff like that, like, that builds and builds for us.
Right. So after that incident kind of settled down a little bit, we all, like, after they left and stuff, we were, you know, just talking a little bit as a group, and then we all decided, like, to go at this point. And I ran into some friends I know, and I was talking to them. And at this point, this is where things get a little bit heavy, and this is where I think that I can speak my truth and just everything that I'm witnessing. And this is, like, kind of the gateway that gives me a voice, almost like an opportunity. So at this point, I've already been crying all morning, and I was crying yesterday. So I was just looking rough. And everyone said goodbye and got in their cars and left. And since I ran into some people I know, I started talking to them. And honestly, like, I'm a religious person. I, you know, believe and follow God. And this is where I think it was a really huge test for me from him. And this was a point where he was like, God literally put those people there to say hello and for me to start talking to them to give me this test almost. So the situation that happened was I was talking to the two people that I know, and I saw a man, and he started ripping down our signs. And I stood there, and the two people that I was talking to obviously know that we put those signs up at this point because I was telling them about it. And in my head, I was like, what are you going to do? Because you can watch him take them down. You can watch him take down the signs you and your friends spent all morning putting up, and you can just videotape it, or you can just stand there and watch it, or you could go stand up for what you believe in and what you did this morning.
Yeah.
So me being the journalist freak I am, I grabbed my phone, started recording right away, and went up and walked straight up to him, and I said, "Excuse me, sir," very calm and nice and pretty stern, like, my best way I thought it was possible. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, like, why are you taking down our signs?" And honestly, like, you've watched the video.
Yeah, you handled it really well.
I don't know exactly what I said. Usually in situations like that, I call it a blackout. I literally black out and don't remember anything. That's why I record, like, pretty much everything I do. I didn't black out in this situation, and for good reason. So he was taking down the signs, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, why are you taking down our signs? Why are you taking down our signs?" And he said, like, "This is my property. This is my property." And I said,
"It's a public street corner, by the way."
I was like, "Is it your property?" And then in my head, I was like, he could be the property manager. And for some reason, I didn't ask him if he was. But he didn't look like the property manager. I, you know, somewhat work in the area, and I know security. I know pretty much everyone there. And I literally shifted, and we're going to put the video up so you can watch it. But I shifted my body, and he still took them down and literally tried to push me out of the way. And I just said, "Please stop, please stop." And my voice was very stern at the beginning. And as you watch longer, I crack. There's like one moment where I just go from like, "Please stop," to like, "Please stop," like, "Please." And then you could hear my voice literally. Yeah, no, everyone that's seen it so far, like, I obviously sent it to our group, was just like devastated. And it literally leaves you with like your mouth like wide open, just like in awe, because if you know who I am, I like to think that I'm a nice-ish person. And it just like, it broke my heart to see me get so upset about this. And if I got any more violent, if he pushed me even a little bit harder, the situation could have been way different, but he didn't. And all I was doing was standing right in front, recording, and just saying, "Please stop," like, "Please stop." And he said, and I said, I will not move because I'm standing for what, like, I protect. And he was like, you need to stop. Like, this is my property. Like, I'm going to get security. And I almost was like, can you at least, like, I just wanted the signs back at this point. Like, if he was going to take him down, fine. Like, we'll take him down. Like, if you're the property manager, fine. But just give us our signs back. You're taking my property now. This is our property at this point. Like, our signs are ours. So he ended up leaving, and this whole thing was about a minute long, and he didn't stay to yell at me. He just took our signs and left with his dog.
He didn't even want to have, like, a conversation with you.
No. And, like, honestly, I don't think mentally it could have if it came down to that. But, and then the other thing that really made me upset was there was a group of people that were standing right on the corner, too, that watched, like, probably 6 people that just watched it all happen. And then I think Richard came back, and, and at this point, these people were just watching the whole situation. I just stood there, like, I stopped recording and I tried to take a breath, and I just was, like, sobbing. And then Richard came up and was like, I know, and, like, just gave me a hug, and I was crying. And then I, like, took a step back and was like, okay. And then this one guy that was watching the whole situation go down just walks up to us and he goes, if it was easy, it would have happened long ago.
What does he mean by that?
Like, I just think the whole fight. Like, if you know, I don't know what he meant.
Like, if it was easy, worth fighting.
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah. It would, if it was like an easy fight, then the problem would have been gone.
No problems, but
yeah. Which, screw that guy, because are you kidding me? You literally just watched me almost get attacked by this guy, and you did nothing. You sat there and you did nothing this entire time. And then he had the audacity to come up and say that one word to me and think that it's going to change my whole perspective on the day. Like, no, if it was easy, it would have happened long ago, but you just stood there and did nothing.
It's people like you make it the reason why it's not easy.
Yeah, and I told myself, and I told the group before this, I said, Carlsbad is going to be one of the hardest cities to crack, and I don't know if they will ever crack until the older generation is gone, if we're being completely honest, because that is just a beautiful example of it. And people were driving by, some people supporting us. Half of the people that drove by literally just stared at us and were like, what are you doing? And that just shows, like, honestly, the white privilege in our community, or, you know, it just bugged me. So then after that situation, I got some water and just calmed down. I was sobbing and, like, couldn't drive, obviously, so I waited until I calmed down. And then I took like an hour and a half till I sent that video. I think Richard said something, but I just was like, oh no, I sent it right after to you guys, but I just didn't go on my phone for like an hour and a half after.
That's because I was worried, because I thought you got.
Everyone was super worried, and I felt super bad because I said in the last podcast episode I turned off all my text message notifications, and all my social media notifications have been off for months. But so everyone was texting me, and I just was not replying.
I was with Julia at the time when I watched it, and I was like, I opened her door, and I'm like, Julia, did you just see what went on? And she's like, yeah, I just saw it. And I was like, I was texting you, and I was like, did you get pushed? Like, are you okay? Like,
yeah,
what the f is going on?
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
I was stressing out.
I know, I felt so bad. I just was like,
that's okay. You need your time to breathe after that. Like, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, the thing is, it's funny because that stuff happens when you're alone.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen when we're in a big group in the corner together, being peaceful, might I add. It only happens when you're alone. And it just goes to show that, like, these people only want to target you when you don't have a support group. You know?
Right.
And they want to make you feel like you don't have a support group. They want to make you feel like you're wrong, and you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You do have support. You have people all over who want you and, you know, who want the best for you. But people like that, who literally will just go up, rip them down, not even talk to you or acknowledge you, that's, again, another reason why we're fighting.
Yeah. So yeah, that situation shook me up for sure. And I think that one thing, I don't think it was you, someone else said it. They were just like, you're white, Colette. I know I'm white, like, obviously, but, like, that was, like, a bad way of saying it. But, like, the fact that happened to me, and, like, and people recognize me too, like the women that we were with, and then that guy too also mistaked me for some woman named Maggie or something like that.
Yeah, he kept saying Maggie, and
he said, "Are you Maggie?" And I was like, I should have said yes, but I was like, no, like, I'm not Maggie. Like, I don't know. I have a pretty like I don't know. I work downtown, like, serve. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in the community for a while, so I think people at least like recognize who I am. So this is where I get scared to post stuff like this because I don't want to target on my back, you know, for certain things. Yeah. But in that moment, I was just like, I thought about this too. I said, if this is how people of color felt or feel every single day going out into their community or stuff like this happens to them, then I would never want to go outside and like you have to fight for that every single day, like, or you have had to for years and, you know, decades at this point. Like I was, my heart broke in that moment thinking about that, and I was just like, then I realized my full privilege and just like everything like that. And now I think I have a voice because I've stood up for it and seen it firsthand. In like, literally this all happened within 30 minutes of each other, like 2 incidences. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I think, like, honestly, no matter how big or small a platform you have, no matter how big or small your community is, I firmly believe that everybody has a voice and everybody has a right to express their voice, you know? And I think that's where a lot of the problem used to lie with this movement, was because, again, people who were not of color felt like they did not have a say or a voice at all in this, you know? And I think, again, when we have everybody in unison and we have everybody who wants just basic peace at the end of the day all come together for that unity, for that peace, like, that's really strong. And that's why when I was talking to you on the phone, I was like, you have a podcast, you have so many connections to friends, you know, blah blah blah. Like, use that. If you feel strong about that, use that. People who go on Facebook all the time and, you know, get like, I don't know, like 50 likes on their post, use that voice, use that platform. That's what, you know, what works for you. Me myself, like, I again, like, I grew up in a predominantly white area in Oceanside. You know, most of my family, that's okay, so my dad's black, and then my mom is mixed with a whole bunch of other stuff, but she's not black at all, pretty much. But regarding, like, my black family, my predominantly black family all lived in, like, Georgia and Florida, whereas on my mom's side, I had my cousins who were also half black, but again, we were never full black. I never went to school, and I was never really in classes with other black people, you know? So I never really quite understood racism when I was, like, little, you know, until I got into school, when I started learning about MLK and, like, civil rights movement. And I was like, this makes no sense. Like, why are these guys getting killed just for how they look, you know? That to me shook me up so much when I was little, because I literally did not see color at all. I hung out with you if you're white, I hung out with you if you're Mexican, I hung out with you if you're black, but it didn't matter to me. So I was silent for, like, a while on a lot of issues. And honestly, like, as I got older and, you know, I started doing my own thing, I kind of just got tired of hearing more stories, you know, just people getting murdered, and the people who murder them don't get the proper treatment that they deserve, you know? And I was like, you know, I have such a huge reach connection on my own Instagram, you know?
Yeah, you do.
Between the people I grew up with, between the people I work with, my classmates in college, like, I've met so many different aspects of life. And I just felt like I had to reach out to all of them, you know, and tell them, like, yo, like, it's going down right now. Like, this is a revolution. We're living in history, and I'm sorry, but, like, we're just tired of all this crap that's been going on for us for, you know, since before I was born, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, we made progress since, like, the civil rights movement, you know, Jim Crow laws are banned and all that. But it's the fact that, like, there's still people in power that will put us down. And there's people that will contact that people in power to put us down.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, what has changed, you know? Because we're equal on paper, but we're not equal when I step outside, you know, when I confront the police, when I talk to the law, you know? Even at times when I go into a restaurant, people don't really want to walk up to me and serve me food, or they want to, like, have minimal contact because I am a black person in Carlsbad, you know? They don't want to give that extra mile and, like, ask me about my day, but, you know, they'll talk all day and even, like, give discounts to other people when I see that in front of my eyes, you know? It's like, it's stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, like, I just want to be equal with everybody, you know? So yeah, like, I simply just got tired of living in that bubble of, like, not speaking out about the issues that go on with my own community. Yes, I grew up in a predominantly white area, but I still should not ignore who I am and who my color is, you know? And, like, we shouldn't have to look at color at all, but it's unfortunate that like in this day and age that we do, you know.
Pop the bubble.
Yeah,
you said it. Pop the bubble.
So yeah, so like now I want to. I've lost so many friends. Not friends, really. Honestly, I don't consider them my friends at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost so many people that I used to know, like within high school, within college, just for me speaking out on Instagram. And it's funny because if you
like this week.
Yeah, this week. Yeah. And it's funny because like I'm a strong supporter of if you don't like to see somebody's stories, you can either just swipe right.
That's what I said.
Or
I always told you guys there is an unfollow and a follow button for a reason. Freaking use it.
But
don't comment. Bring people down.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because I'm like, you knew I was black, you know?
Yeah. It's just like I don't know what to even say about it anymore. Like
you know I'm black when you follow me. I listen to black artists. You like the videos I post of like when I go to concerts.
I do love your
black
videos.
Artists, but when it comes to me talking about black rights, now you want to be silent.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Now you want to unfollow me. So, you know, when I realized that, and you know, some of the people who did unfollow me, I kind of took it to heart because I was like,
you always do it first.
You know, I was like, I loved you when I met you back then, but now I'm like, you know, like relatively, I haven't even kept up with you that much. You really don't matter in my life as much if you're not going to stand with me on peace. But it's funny because it's like, I don't get what people are so afraid of when it comes to like talking about stuff, you know? And it's like, thankfully, like the amount of people who unfollowed me, I've had like triple the amount of people come up and talk to me and follow me back, you know?
Yeah.
I've had people who I barely even talk to, who I haven't even met in person, first of all. I've had so many people who I haven't met in person, and they come up to me and talk to me about it. So, it's like, why can't everybody be like that, you know? Why can't everybody have that civil debate? Like, we don't need to be violent or aggressive at all. But again, it's when you want to attack us, and when you want to point names and point statistics and fingers and whatever, that's when it becomes violent.
Right.
But it doesn't need to be at that point. You can literally just talk about things. You can literally just swipe up and say, I don't know, like, what do you think about this? Or how can I donate or whatever? And that goes so farther into a more peaceful society than just ignoring the problem. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, that was heavy.
That was a lot.
That was really good. That was really good. Thank you for.
I'm sweating right now, honestly.
No, I know. I see the shakes a little bit, but that's like what this is, and it's scary as it is, just with everything. So, thank you for being able to sit down with me and like speak out about everything.
Anytime. And like, if anybody's listening to this too, like, I am more than comfortable with speaking out to whoever, like, on any issue. Like, if you have any questions, or if you just want like a story on like why I feel this way, like, feel free to reach me out, you know? Like, I'm such a strong component of like compassion and just education.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot
Noah's literally like one of the nicest people I know too. That's why like hearing this makes me like so sad. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to end on that note. Yeah. Just like a couple things that I wanted to say before we go. I'm afraid to speak up about it still. And you just said, don't be afraid to speak up about it. There's different ways you can do it. I'm not saying. Also, one thing I do see is everyone posts on their Instagram story just about certain things, or tries to find like trendy photos just to fit in with the movement. And that's not what it's for. It's not what it's about. So try to like almost remember that. I'm not telling you what to post or anything like that.
It's good that like you're getting it out there, but if you're solely getting it out there just to look like you support, and you're just doing it to put on a facade,
don't post it all, please.
About, you know, like,
yeah.
There's people who will like just post one photo and be like, "To solve racism for today," you know, like that's it's just mind-boggling to see that. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to donate. I'm not telling you to go out in the streets and protest, but if you're really gonna support it, make sure you're supporting it for the right reasons and for what you believe in, and for your friends at the end of the day, you know, for basic human rights. Like,
yeah, very well said. And then just one thing that I wanted to touch about, if you're in Carlsbad or, you know, Encinitas or Oceanside or anything like that, there's been a lot of things happening in Encinitas, and as of last night, Oceanside started their protest. They're actually doing one right now, I believe. They're doing theirs from starting yesterday till Sunday. And Carlsbad Village is doing one from Friday through Sunday from 2 to 6 p.m. And I've posted a little bit about it, and it's all just kind of up. You can like find the hashtag or like type in Carlsbad on Instagram if you want to be a part of it. One thing I do want to hone into is because Carlsbad is one of the probably the hardest cities to crack and things like that. I have to say I'm a little nervous just to see what's going to happen, but I will be there with my camera and everything like that just to be a journalist almost on Friday and just kind of, record what's going on. That being said, it is peaceful. We are trying to preach as much as possible that it is meant to be peaceful, and we do not want the outcome of some of the other protests that have been happening, down in San Diego or everything like that. So that's just like really trying to like hit that at home. And even like this morning, something changes every hour, but even this morning, like we saw posts of threats already and like things like that. And it is very scary. And Carlsbad kids, like as much as like predominantly like the ones that I know, at least we are white privilege and stuff, but Carlsbad kids are crazy. I'm just saying it right now. Like, I love you guys. I'm crazy. Like, like it's just like crazy in the good way too. But some I don't know. I don't want to like whatever, but
it's just like be safe. Like if you see something, like speak up about it.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, if they're trying to limit your protest, that's limiting your belief and your right to speak.
Yeah.
And again, everybody has their different opinions. Whatever. At the end of the day, like limiting human rights and wanting like a separate equality for everybody. Like I don't even know how to word it. Just if you don't want equality for everybody, like what's wrong with that,
Right. I also did want to speak on this after the situation that I just talked about with me and that man from yesterday. I don't want people to get angry because like a good amount of my followers are from Carlsbad and everything like that, and try to find this guy, find his house, hurt him. That's not what this is about. We are trying to make the movement, bigger than us almost. And I don't know, I just don't want people to get obviously get upset about that video, but use that anger in a different direction than harm to him or finding out who he is. That's yes, he is particularly a part of the issue and the problem, but I don't want you guys to target that person. It's not my intention. That's why I didn't want to post a video in the first place, but it just needs to be said. That's what needs to be happen. That's what needs to come out. So yeah, that was just my other standpoint on that. So yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to kind of close with? I'm getting to a point where I might start crying, so I'm kind of trying to cut it early.
I mean, if anybody has any questions, you can follow my Instagram. I know you'll tag me in it.
Of course, yeah.
But it's Noah Cyril, NoahCyril on Instagram. I've been posting besides yesterday, I had to take my mental break from it.
Yesterday, I think our whole group kind of just took a step back, and I will not be posting. We're recording on Thursday, but I'm not posting anything on Thursday. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But on Friday, when I post the podcast and everything, I'm going to be editing today and stuff. On Friday, I will keep the comments on. You guys can say what you want. I most likely will not be responding to DMs or comments or anything like that. I know Noah will. So take the opportunity to talk to Noah and not me, because I have a feeling I will probably delete everything after I post.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, on my own page, I post donation links, mental health resources. If you have any questions on how you stand, some of the posts I post kind of guide you in a direction if you're lost. And I'll be making a whole little what are those little story collections that you have?
Oh yes, highlights.
Yeah, highlights. I'll be making a highlight for that because I've literally posted so much in the
past. Yes, I think today you posted 20 things on your story this morning, and I was tapping through. I was oh my goodness.
It's so bad. I wake up and then I look at my phone because I'm
well, the only thing that we're looking at now, you guys, is this situation, and that's the whole reason why people are posting, because we don't want to ignore it. And at first I was gosh, this is all that's going to be on my timeline at the beginning, and now I'm all right, to see why.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but other than that, just have peace and love for your friends, for your people, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we should all want for everybody.
Peace and love, right? Yes. Okay, well, that's it for another episode of Hot Cocoa. So we got to of course, we got to rate the Hot Cocoa. What do you give it out of a 10?
Out of a 10?
I'm almost done with mine.
I'm halfway, honestly. I would say a solid 6.7.
Okay, that's a pretty good rating. 6.7.
I'm very exact with my ratings. Professional Yelp reviewer.
I almost finished mine. I really like it because it's a lot more lighter. When I drink hot cocoa, I feel like it's really chocolatey, like the Starbucks one we had. Yeah. I give it like a good, I give it like a 7.6. How's that? How's my rating? Yeah, 7.6. It's like it's almost a C, almost a B, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, so go to the Goods. They're in Carlsbad. Great donut place. Just a little plug for that. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. If you want to watch the video and everything we talked about too, it'll be up on the Instagram. Everything with the podcast and the videos and stuff will go up at the same time. So yes, that is it. Make sure to go follow Noah and everything like that. And we will, I would say, see you guys if you watch the videos. See you or hear you in the next one. Okay, bye everyone. Cool. Now we just stop.